Today, I'm talking to Kirsty Bremner, one of Inveroy's new employees, not the newest, but newish. And Kirsty is going to talk to us today really about, what's it like to come from university? What are the expectations out there from someone graduating with a master's? And what's her thoughts on employment and joining Inveroy? So, Kirsty, good afternoon. And the first question I'm going to ask you, Kirsty, really is, coming from university, what were your expectations on employment?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me on. This is a new experience for me. I think coming straight from university into employment, I think going to university, you really feel like you'll be able to, that gives you the sort of stepping stone to go straight into the job that you really want to do ever since you were younger. But I think that's really changed now, and the ability that you can to switch subjects, for example, through courses. So, for example, I made the jump from geology to business. Quite a drastic change, I feel. But still landed me in a job that I really enjoy. So I think it has definitely changed in the last couple of years. But I definitely think through COVID, it's made the journey a lot more difficult for a lot of people. You come out with quite high expectations from graduating, and I think after a couple of rejections, you do start to feel a bit down and a bit down about it all. But no, I think it's really important to do, use your time at uni to the absolute best of your ability. The importance of doing as much as you can really does make a difference. Even just sports clubs and societies do make you stand out, and gives you that really important social people skills that a lot of people will often miss if they're too academic focused.
Okay, I mean that's really interesting, Kirsty. I mean, do you feel that, I suppose it's a question that lots of people want to know but do you feel university prepares you for coming into this sort of big bad world and new ventures? I mean, lots of things I've heard is that people come with loads of degrees, but they don't have experience. And that's a hurdle because employees want people with experience, but unless they're willing to give it to postgrads, how do you get that experience? I mean, what do you think?
Definitely. No, I feel there is quite a few jobs that will advertise themselves as being entry level, but in small text have 2 years experience required underneath that you often miss. But no, to be honest, with Inveroy, I think I honestly learned more in the 9 months since joining than I did throughout my whole degree. A lot of experience from my degree has been passed on, but a really big majority of it was learned just through first-hand experience with the company. So I definitely think it gears you up, but you need that extra sort of 2 years in an entry level job before to actually build that up a bit more to the level you need. So
I mean, would you recommend other students, other sort of postgraduates approaching sort of startup companies or even bigger ventures, straight from university? Do you think it's good?
Yeah, I think both have their benefits with smaller companies and the larger ones. I feel with smaller companies like Inveroy, you really feel like you make quite a difference quite quickly, whereas a lot of graduates entering a big company will tend to disappear, especially when you've got hundreds of employees, and one little graduate does get a bit lost amongst all that. So I think there are definitely benefits through both. I prefer smaller companies. I think you make an impact quite quickly, which is really good for your confidence. So
yeah, I mean, I would agree. I mean, having you come onto the team, I've only been there for 18 months myself, but it's actually quite refreshing to have younger people join the company because no one wants to be seen as stale, male and pale, as I suppose you could call me. But no, it is good to have you here, Kirsty. Okay, Kirsty, sort of leaving the uni bit aside, I think what we need to really look at next is, I mean, how did you feel about embarking upon an unknown subject such as business continuity and crisis management? Because you could say, coming straight from uni, what do you know about business continuity or the ability to manage a crisis?
Well, I think I was definitely quite nervous. Still am a bit better now, but especially back in October, you're entering a whole new subject which isn't really covered in the degree that I did in either of them. It's something you have a bit of awareness on, but you don't feel you have enough experience to actually comment on it or contribute. So yes, definitely nervous, but up to the challenge of learning more. And I think I was quite lucky in the sense that through going back to uni, with things such as the University Officer Training Corps, a lot of their basic scenario and exercises and logical solutions from that I learned I have been able to pass on to the BC world with Inveroy. So that was lucky in a sense, but in no way did it did it set me up fully at all. And I think the ability to go on these extra courses, such as with the Institute of Strategic Risk Management, really helps boost your confidence and makes you a bit more aware of the whole world of business continuity, which is a big one and a scary one if you're new to it. So.
Yeah, definitely. I would agree. I think Inveroy, because they've got such a diverse range of clients from transport, construction to oil and gas, which is sort of oil and gas is more down your sort of study learning path, Kirsty. I think it's just a massive step change, isn't it? I mean, business continuity is something which is really coming to the fore now with industry and will soon potentially be a regulation requirement for business. So, yeah, I mean, what did you think about the crisis management? I mean, crisis management is different, isn't it? But it's something that every company needs to know how to do. Have you enjoyed the crisis management aspect?
Yes, definitely. I think crisis management, if I was to pick one, is definitely going to top BC. But again, it was something I was completely new at, hadn't covered it before, and so I was straight in drinking from the fire hose, as Toby would say, Toby Ingram. So yeah, no, it was a challenge, but it was an interesting one because being in again such a small company with so much experience, you get I was able to build up knowledge through each individual consultant telling their stories about it, how they got into it, and what their specialities were. Really helped build an image in your head of crisis management, and the ability to just sit in on meetings and projects that were ongoing with the company, just in the background, writing notes, listening in, was really helpful to get a baseline understanding of it. So yes.
Oh, good. So I suppose we could really talk about, what's been your experience to date? Do you feel coming from uni, you've been out of your comfort zone? Do you feel you've been challenged? I mean, what have you enjoyed? What have you disliked about not just about the people, I suppose, but it's more about the job. What sort of experience have you gained? Let's talk a little bit about being out of your comfort zone. When have you felt outside of your comfort zone?
Definitely. Well, I suppose right at the very beginning, I was I was out of my comfort zone, I have to say. I think the biggest one was definitely one of the more recent projects we did with Glasgow Caledonian University, where I was invited to help you guys speak and do a talk to the students there. And I found that really quite challenging, being almost the same age, if not slightly younger than some of the students there, and telling them, talking about this subject that even I was quite fresh and new at, even with only 8 months experience at that point. I did find that very, very challenging, but it was also really, really nice to be able to connect with the students on a bit more, on a better level, being the same age and having done similar courses. Really helped, and the comments that we got back from them of how were all positive. So that was quite comforting to know afterwards that although it was quite challenging to begin with, that actually at the end you've done quite a good job is always nice to hear. So that was definitely the most out of my comfort zone I think I've been so far. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're a real good news story, Kirsty, but not just the good news part, but also it shows that if you're willing to work hard, there are opportunities out there for people who want to better themselves and start that first rung in business. So I think it's good to be at your comfort zone. I mean, what do you think about the sort of ethos and ethics of Inveroy, Kirsty? What have you noticed about the people at Inveroy that you've liked?
Well, I suppose because, again, going back to Envroy being quite a small company, there's sort of 10 with about 5 or 6 core members, is that everyone is just so honest, and they're really, really friendly. And I think it's intimidating joining any company when you're fresh into the world. So it was really nice to have, a small amount of people that were all absolutely lovely, and I had the pleasure of meeting a couple of them in person for the very first time. And yes, I think they've all got such experience and have been so welcoming to a new to a new person joining, and helping teach me their ways of work, which has been very good. So yes, lovely.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit. Kirsty, the young lady or the young businesswoman that left uni, and now Kirsty, the business person at Inveroy. I mean, what experience have you gained at Inveroy? You talked quite a bit about the ISRM qualifications. What have you sort of gained, Kirsty? Not just personally, but also qualification wise.
Yes. So experience-wise, I've been able to join a number of courses, such as mentioned before, the ISRM Strategic Risk and Corporate Management course, which was great, which is a master's level, and I got the ability to complete that within my first 2 months of joining. I've also had the ability to go on smaller courses with things such as social media and digital marketing, which has been really useful. And yeah, so they're all really useful courses that will help better me and move me forward in the future if I do move on.
No, that's good, Kirsty. So we've talked about a little bit about experience at Inveroy. I mean, what do you want to do, Kirsty? I mean, what do you see yourself doing next within the sort of Inveroy circle? What would you like to do?
Gosh, well, I think I've been lucky in the sense that I've been able to experience quite a broad range of what Inveroy does, and a bit of ops management side as well as consultancy work and project work. I definitely like to do a bit more in the project side of things. I really feel that's where you learn the most, is being hands-on and straight in there trying to support or to lead a project with some other consultants. So I'd quite like to go into that side, get my BCI qualifications would be ideal, and hopefully get that done within the next sort of 6 months, 4 months. To become a qualified consultant would be is the dream.
A dream? Yeah, could be a dream or a nightmare. I'm not sure which. It's going to be a dream anyway, I hope.
That would be good. So.
Good. Okay, so I suppose we're into our sort of final few minutes now, Kirsty. I mean, Kirsty, would you recommend this journey to other postgraduate students through Kickstart scheme? What are your thoughts about
that? Yes, no, absolutely. I would recommend it. I think the way that it's handled is really it's handled really well. You have good communications with both your assigned mentor with Kickstart, and then the whole process of joining the company is really simple and easy for both the company and for the graduate, which is good. And the amount of time and money that goes into your training as well is also really beneficial. It's that Kickstart funding that has allowed me to get those qualifications in the last couple of months that has really boosted both my CV and my confidence so far. So yes, no, I definitely would recommend it, and it gives you the ability to join those smaller companies that you may not have known about or heard of, because they're not always advertised in the places where you're looking when you're fresh out of uni. So yes, no, I definitely would recommend it. They're there to help you and succeed and grow. So I definitely would.
Yeah, that's good, Kirsty. I mean, Kirsty, you are a good advertisement for someone leaving uni with a degree and a master's and now engaged within an emerging company such as Inveroy. So you're a great advertisement for this scheme. Well, Kirsty, thanks so much for giving us 15 minutes of your time today, and I look forward to our next podcast together.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Cheers.